Go somewhere else. I can't take this nonsense anymore. How are you going to blame the defense?
I got the pouch. Screw green bean. Damn it.
But once you get to the sausage, I feel like we're doing something.
Go Jets.
And that's the other part of it, is the people are insanely jealous of this show. This show gets the best of the best, and it does it a different way, with positivity.
He scores!
Ow, my head. No, come on.
What would you give up to see a Jets Super Bowl?
All of my friends and family.
Hit those milk thumbs, boys and girls.
Freeze run.
Hold on to your underwear, ladies, and stand by, bitches. It's now time for Talkin' Jets with your hosts, Matt, Ryan, and Green Bean.
Welcome to Talkin' Jets. My name's Ryan, and I'll be your pilot tonight. I am joined alongside my lovely co-pilots. I have Mr. Green Bean to my this way. I got Mr. Matt O'Leary to my that way. Green Bean, how you doing tonight?
Pretty good, man. I'm looking forward to, getting to the actual draft. We'll shake out all the last nuggets of, rumors and thoughts we have before that. But I'm looking forward to our draft party, man. Excited to be here.
O'Leary, how about you? How you doing today?
I'm doing great also. I like Green Bean. I got the itch for the draft. I'm kind of tired of going through, and I feel like we're saying the same things over and over again, and that's not by default. Like, I apologize if that's what the content feels like right now, but we're just waiting. We are so close. What are we, 8 days away? 9 days away from the draft? Almost home, baby.
Chomping at the bit. I love it. Boys and girls, for every 25, nope, we're going to change that. For every 10 likes, Green Bean?
Yeah, 10, sure.
For every 10 likes we get on this video, we're going to... Green Bean's freaking out over there. What's going on?
Look at that. What the hell is that?
For every 10 likes, the podcast listeners are going to be like, what the hell is going on? Why are these guys just
look at that?
He's frozen sideways. Perfect.
That was incredible.
We'll figure it out. Boys and girls,
you guys hear me?
We hear you loud and clear. We got you a little frozen bean, little freeze. There we go.
Yeah, what's going on with this guy? All right, I guess I got to do this. Hold on.
Flickering. Throw those freeze beans in the chat. It's been a while.
It's like 2020 all over again, baby.
It's like jumping bean.
Throwback. I like it.
Nice.
Like I was saying, for every 10 likes we get on this video, we're going to pick a hat, shirt, mug, eggs, jersey qualifier for the end of the stream. Someone's going to win something. So all you got to do is hit that like button. Green Bean will be selecting people throughout the live stream. If you want to send in a super chat, you get your name thrown in as well. And thank you all the way around. Tonight, we're going to talk a little bit about our favorite second round options for the New York Jets, as well as answer some of your questions in the chat that we see popped up. If you guys like our Simpsons themed thumbnail, let us know. And if you'd like to see a different type of stylization next week, let us know as well. We've done South Park. We've done, what was last week's? Peanuts. And then Simpsons were this week. So having a little bit of fun with it. I see Mutt Viles in the chat. He says, Bean looks like the comic store guy. Hold on. Where is it? He said, Bean looks like the comic store guy with a beard.
Yeah.
Ryan looks like the main villain in the Simpsons movie. And then Mutt Viles says, Matt Flanders.
Incredible.
Yeah.
Oh, I like it.
It's awesome.
Always fun. All right. So I guess without further ado, we could jump into some of our favorite options here. I'll pull them all up at once. Some names do kind of cross-pollinate between our list, but these are just some guys that we're keeping an eye on in the second round with our pick. Matt, I guess I'll throw it to you first, then we'll go to Bean, and then I'll hop back to me. But what are your thoughts on what you'd like to see the Jets do in the second round, and how does the first round dictate your decision in the second round? If
I'm glad you teed it up that way, because that's how I was going to start, is saying this is really dependent on what happens in one. So I wanted to give a variety of options for my guys. Now there's a lot of, ironically enough, Ryan texted Green Bean and I this afternoon and was like, hey, send me 3 guys for who you'd like in the second round. And I was like, perfect, because I'm literally editing, as he texted me, a video where I went through like 11 different guys on day 2 that I like. So I'm like, all right, I'll pick some of my favorites, but I'll spread them around. So do you want me to do each one of my guys and why they're here, or how do you want me to do this?
Sure. Yeah, you can kind of go through it. I mean, if you want to give what your thoughts are, maybe on the first round to how that could possibly shift based on, you know, the list you have here, or, you know, if you want to go one by one on each of the guys and give like the if this then that for the second round, you know, however you see fit.
Okay. So in my opinion, the first, and this is all subject to change, right? 9 days out, still a little bit of time. But I have a very strong feeling that the pick is either going to be Armand Membu or Tyler Warren. So an offensive tackle or a tight end. And I've made it very clear that I like both options. I think you really can't make a wrong choice there. I think on the Jet side, you can make a strong case for them just finishing the offensive line. You have 4 of the 5 guys finished already. If they view Membu as someone who could come in and start right away at right tackle, and maybe that they don't think the same about guys on day 2 or on day 2 of the draft or day 3, then fine, so be it. And then that's why I listed Mason Taylor here, right? Because I think tight end is a really big need. So if you are foregoing drafting Tyler Warren, then I think you have to pivot and find someone that you really like on day 2. Of the day 2 guys, I think Mason Taylor is the one that I like the best, and I think the one who would end up going in round 2, which was for this exercise. But if they do take Tyler Warren, which I do think is a strong possibility, and we've discussed it a lot, other positions of need, sure, offensive tackles. You guys listed offensive tackles too, so we'll talk about some of your guys. But Jack Besh at wide receiver is a player that I really like a lot out of TCU. He was down at the Senior Bowl, had the game-winning catch in the Senior Bowl game itself. And while he's not necessarily like the biggest or the fastest, whenever I watch him, I just feel like he's always open. He's a guy who just finds the open area in zone, however that may be. And I like his ball tracking when it's in the air. I think he does well deep down the field because of his ability to track passes. So I like that aspect from him. And if you just want to go, fuck it, let's build the trenches, man, I don't know if we can be upset with an Armand Membu, Tyleik Williams 1-2 punch. Now, yeah, I'd be a little bit nervous about the playmakers at wide receiver and tight end, but if you look at the Philadelphia Eagles, what their blueprint is having a stellar offensive line and stellar defensive line. And in that scenario, okay, you land Membu to fill out right tackle, then let's add a beefster next to Quinnen Williams and Tyleik, who, for my money, is one of the best run-stopping defensive linemen in this class. So those are why, I guess, you know, depending on what they do in the first round, why in round 2, these would be 3 guys that stand out. Obviously, there's more, and it's, again, dependent on how the draft board falls. But if the Jets are walking away with any of these 3 guys in the second round, I'm pretty happy.
Bean, how about you? You want to walk us through your 3 guys?
Yeah, well, and number 1, I like Matt's list too. I actually had Tyleik Williams on my list, and I decided, I was like, all right, now I'm gonna go a different route. So here, and like the caveat here is like, well, depending on what we do, of course, right? Like, so I gotta say that I do think, I will tell you, I think that the Jets are going Tyler Warren in the first. I think the Membu stuff, I think we're going to find out that it was a very effective smokescreen. Not that they don't like him, and not that I'd be upset. I'm not saying anything like that. I just think that's what I'm picking up for whatever reason. I think it's going to be Tyler Warren, and that would leave us with needing, a tackle and a weapon alongside Garrett Wilson. So Tyler Warren he gives you a pass catcher, but I still think we need a wide receiver. So Jaden Higgins, I do think there's a chance that he's a first-round pick. I do, but I like him in the second. So 6'4", 4'4" or 5-ish. Speed, great hands. I think I think he'd be awesome. I did toy with going with the idea, like maybe this staff would want that kind of shifty guy, a little bit smaller, a little bit quicker for the middle. But I like Higgins. I think he's the guy. I would be so excited if like the Jets come out of this first 2 rounds with Tyler Warren and Jaden Higgins, I'd be ecstatic. Now I did throw Mason Taylor on there too. Truth is, I'm not against a double dip at tight end, and I'd love to make it a position of strength. I don't really think it's going to happen that way. I really don't. But I put Mason Taylor up there because he's my absolute favorite outside of Tyler Warren and Colston Loveland. Like those two guys, I really like. But the rest of the guys, it's like I think a lot of them are good. But Mason Taylor, I think, has incredible upside, and I think he's I think he's got the chance to be, maybe the guy who has the most impact from the tight end position this year. So I like him. Now, Josh Connerly, Dom C got me on this guy, if I'm being square. And I think he's kind of like the best kept secret right now. Now, that doesn't mean that NFL teams are just, that they don't know about him. I'm just saying in general, I like, if we don't go Membu in the first, I like the idea of, going tackle. Again, I like wide receiver there, but if we don't go tackle in the first, I like him in the second. If Connerly's there, I think you're getting an equal kind of, potential to be, plug and play and have your, have a really good starting level tackle on your squad. So I like all those guys, and I'd be really happy if any of them were plucked for the second round, in day 2. So there it is. There's my list.
So I agree with you guys on like basically all your players. I'd be tickled pink with any single one of them. I do agree with where Bean is headed. I do think Tyler Warren's going to be the pick at number 7 for a lot of reasons I mentioned in the past. Obviously, the Jets getting Fields' former center, tying a Pro Bowl, accolade to his contract, and then also saying that he's going to push Tittman, at center. So what does that mean for Tittman? Tittman obviously bounces out to guard where he's played well. And then I think that even though they've said AVT is going to stay at guard, I think there's a real shot he's going to be playing tackle for us on the right-hand side. And then it also allows him to possibly get the most amount of money out of it. So I don't think Membu's going to be the pick in the first. And I almost didn't include Mason Taylor on this list just because I do feel that strongly about Warren in the first. But like these guys mentioned, I think Mason Taylor in the second round would be the best tight end you could kind of go with, should the pick be, Membu or something at the top of the draft. So no issues there. I really, really like him as a player. For tackle, I really like the third round tackles, if I'm being perfectly honest, and I'd probably lean more wide receiver here. I did have Besh and I did have Higgins prior to doing this list. I wanted to be a little bit different. Tackle-wise, I figured I'd go with Jonah. I'm not going to be able to pronounce that last name, so I'm not even going to try it. The tackle out of Arizona, he's played guard before. He's played left tackle and right tackle, so he has positional flexibility. That gives you a little bit of maneuverability should something happen with Olu or anything like that. So now you have 3 guys on the line that can play left tackle or right tackle. And then as far as wide receiver goes, similar to what Bean said before, where I'm not sure if the Jets are going to go for the profile of a wide receiver like a Jaden Higgins, that bigger bodied guy, or the short, shiftier guy. So Jalen from Iowa State, the receiver opposite Jaden Higgins, very shifty, very quick, takes the top off of a defense. That's the route I kind of went in this role here. I do like the idea of prioritizing offense in the top half of this draft, especially the first 3 rounds. If the Jets wanted to go with Tyleik Williams, as Matt said, I think that's a home run selection as well. The guy's an absolute animal on the interior part of the defensive line. But here I went with the offensive heavy draft. If we weren't to go tackle in the second round and not in the first, Ozzy Trapillo is my guy in the third. I'm hoping he's going to be there. And if he's not, then I'm up Schitt's Creek, and we better hope they have some additional playmakers in there. So Matt, now that you've seen my list and Bean's list, any thoughts and comments about what we've said, and anything to add to your list?
Yeah, I like the guys that you mentioned, as the both of you guys mentioned. Josh Connerly, one of the main reason why I didn't put him on my list was not because I didn't like him, is I just don't know if he's going to be there for the Jets at 40.
Yeah.
If he is, great. I would be doing, backflips. If you come away with Tyler Warren in the first round and Josh Connerly in the second, holy shit, that's a really long way to rebuild your offense right there. So I would love that one. is another wide receiver that I really like. Actually, both Iowa State receivers. They're different. Higgins is more of like jump ball guy. He's going to win the contested catches. Insanely low drop rate. I think it was 3% in his collegiate career. I read today, which is pretty nuts. And then Jalen Noel, you mentioned him as a deep threat, which I think is a portion of his game. But something that I like from him too is with his speed. It feels like he could take one of those like slants or shallow crossers, you catch it, and he's gone. You blink and he's just up the field. His yards after the catch is really exciting. So stylistically, a little bit different, but it depends on what the preference is and what they're looking for in this on this wide receiver room. Like, do you want the speedy guy or do you want the big guy? So there's something for both.
Yeah, I love Iowa State too. Getting guys from you always got to get a guy from Iowa State. You know, they're men. They breed men over there. They come in and they mean business. You know, I just think the more guys you can add from Iowa State, the better.
So I see Jalen in there saying everyone's sleeping on Kyle Williams. I have his video queued up. Admittedly, I did this like last second here, trying to piece it all together. And he is one of the speed guys that I do want to dive a little bit more down on. As Matt mentioned, Jalen's kind of a little bit more of like a gadget guy. So I don't know if it's too similar to like Corley or Garrett. I just like the way he takes the top off of the defense. I thought maybe that's the direction they may go. Being anything to add for what you've seen from my list and Matt's list, and any additional thoughts?
Yeah, well, it's like you know, like you said with the Ohio State wide receivers, like they're different. I'd be delighted with either one, and I like Kyle Williams too. And we were talking about him. That was the guy that was the wide receiver that we took in this week's mock, the 10 o'clock mock. I do like other receivers better than Kyle Williams. I like him. And it's really going to be interesting to see, what this crew likes, like, what do they want? What type of a player do they want? Do they want like a big bodied, contested catch, kind of box out the cornerback guy? Or do they want that shifty, take the top off speed guy? I think, a little bit of both would be good, but I really like, I like to call him Jalen Noel. I think I've heard, like Matt said, Noel. I think it is Noel, but I like Jalen Noel feels better to say to me. It's like Fashanu. I'm still saying Fashanu. Like I like it. It feels better. Yeah, it feels better for me. But yeah, I mean, and I think it's just good. It's going to be really interesting to see what these guys do. I mean, they could come out and take, a cornerback in the first and a safety in the second. I mean, we don't, you know what I mean? These guys, we have no idea what they're going to do. We don't know them from shit. So we can, here we are again, we make our plans and all that. But I think it's really going to be fun to see, what the collective of Aaron Glenn, with Muji and Spielman, and then what kind of guys Engstrand wants to see in his offense to add to the Garrett Wilson, Breece Hall kind of group. And it'll be exciting. I mean, I like all these guys. I also like Ursery as a tackle that'll be there in the second. But yeah, I mean, I don't know, the defensive tackle, we got to get defensive tackles in this class. But thing is with defensive tackle, and why I ultimately chose not to put Ty Williams, who's one of my favorite players in the draft. I think, we have Fedarian Mathis, and he's just quietly sitting on our roster. And, we have LT3, obviously Quinnen Williams. We brought in Noddy and some other kind of, lower tier guys. But I don't know how early they're going to go defensive tackle. I'd be surprised if they did that. Like Matt said, there's nothing wrong with going, Membu Williams to just make a statement in the first 2 rounds of the draft. We're building through the trenches. I would support that too. I don't know where I land. I really want to see some offense first 3 rounds.
Now you mentioned defensive tackle, maybe not early. We have heard that the Jets have met with Mason Graham quite a bit. Do you think, Matt, there's any smoke to that fire? You think Graham's a realistic selection at the 7 pick, or do you think it's due diligence?
I do. And it kind of reminds me in a way of Fashanu from last year. Everyone thought like this is a guy who's going to clearly go in the top 10. Then you get towards the draft and it's like, okay, he's fallen a little bit. Maybe he's not going to be one of the top tackles off the board. And then that's who the Jets end up taking all along. Like, they met with him 3 times. They this week in the top 30 visit, they met with him at the combine and they had dinner with him before the Michigan Pro Day. So I do think if he's there, he's absolutely someone that they will consider. I don't want to completely write it off, although, you know, I will fully admit that I think Membu and Warren are more likely choices. And I think part of that is because I really think Jacksonville or the Raiders would be in play for Mason Graham in front of the Jets. But if he's there, it would not be the most shocking thing in the world if that's, you know, the player that's name is called when the Jets pick is in.
Yeah, it's one of those situations where I like the player. I don't love the position that early. Like Bean was kind of saying, oh, like offense, like heavy. The first part is kind of where I'd like to see it play out. Bean, what are your thoughts on Mason Graham, and do you see him as like a realistic option for the Jets at 7?
Well, yeah, I only do because, like I said, we have no idea who these guys are. You know, like, don't forget, Aaron Glenn is defense, right? And like traditionally speaking, when you have that, you know, that defensive leadership, a lot of the time that's what you see. You know, they can't help themselves. You know, they can. This guy he's you know, what, a generational defensive tackle. You just can't pass on a guy, you know, like, so we don't know what they're going to do. That said, I do think it's foolish to do that. Not that he won't be good, because I think he will be, and I think he is, and I do think it's realistic if they do it. I wouldn't be blown away. I wouldn't, but I think it's foolish because, number one, there's a lot of really, I think, defensive tackles that can come right in and be plug and play for you. You know, the Jets, the past number of years had struggled to stop the run. It's a totally different defense, and we don't know if these guys will have that. You know, they're not going to have that, you know, ass on fire rushing style, or, you know, who knows what the defense will look like specifically with the Jets. But I just don't. I don't think it's the smart play. You know, like positions like tackle, like tight end, like wide receiver. I think you got to get those guys early in this draft. A tight end, you can wait a little bit, but I do think that it you know, the level of player, it just drops. So I just want to see them focus on the offense. You know, we bring in Justin Fields. If that's going to work, if this whole thing is going to work, they got to commit to it. And you can't dance around like McCagden. I like to bring it up often because it's just such a great example of a fail. Like you trade all these picks to move up, and you grab a quarterback. It ends up being Sam Darnold, and then they draft a defensive tackle with the 2 of the next 3 picks, 2 defensive tackles, and it's like you just can't. Do you not understand? Like, the guy has no offensive line, he's got no wide receivers, and you're bringing in defensive tackles. Like, it just doesn't make sense, and it sets you up to fail. Like, if you're going to do it, if Justin Fields has any chance of this thing is going to work at all, you got to give him something. And if that's offensive line, it's offensive line. If it's a wide receiver, Tet McMillan, Abuka, Luther Burden up top, or Matthew Golden, whoever it is up there, whoever, you got to give him something that's going to be directly to his benefit. And I don't want to hear this shit. Well, a great defense is the quarterback's best friend. Yeah. I hear you. He needs a fucking offensive line, and he needs people to catch the ball. That's what I know defense is nice, but when he goes out there, he's going to be up in 3, down in 3, and I'm done dealing with that shit. So you let Aaron Rodgers go, you let Devontae Adams go, you bring in Justin Fields, do everything you can that it's going to actually work.
And to piggyback off that, like, I give a shit if the defense lets up 100 zillion points this year. I want to figure out what we have in Justin Fields, and if he's got to sling the rock all over the place. Now, granted, you don't want to see the game get out of hand, because then it winds up, kind of doing the reverse of that. You don't see, quite how good he could be. But yeah, you got to build the offensive line, got to get the weapons up. And, it seems clear as day, at least to, I think, the 3 of us, that it's Garrett Wilson and the running backs, and then that's about it. So let's get some people around around our quarterback. I see Austin come in with Super Chat. He actually meant Tyler Warren in the first. He clarified that 2 comments down. So Tyler Warren in the first, Tyleek in the second, Trapillo in the third. I don't hate that if they like other wide receivers. We obviously have Lazard here, on a reworked contract. I like the reworked deal for him. I don't think it prevents me from taking a wide receiver in the top 3 rounds. I'd probably still make that selection. But in the situation where maybe they want to go quarterback wide receiver next year, or they like, some additional options after they have like a year to digest who's in this room, maybe that's the direction. Matt, if you saw Warren, Tyleek, Trapillo, you happy with those 3 picks?
Yeah, I would be happy with those 3 picks. I think that fills a lot of needs for this team. Warren, I think, comes in right away and is a plus starter at the tight end position. I think Tyleek can come in and be solid in the run game and eventually develop into being a pretty good pass rusher too. It might just take him a little bit there. And Trapillo, I think he could start from day one. And I know that's hard to say for someone in the 3rd round, and the Jets haven't had much luck, whether it be Max Mitchell or Carter Warren on their day 2, day 3 offensive tackle projects. But I like him coming out of BC. He's huge. He uses his size to his advantage. I think he could play right tackle.
Bean, what about you? What do you think about Warren in the first, Tyleek in the second, Trapillo in the third?
Yeah, I'd love it. Like, again, like we have our preferences, right? But a lot of times our preferences are like this. It's just this much, you know what I mean? This much this way, this much this way. If the Jets could really do a lot of things right in this draft. And that's one example, like coming out and grabbing Membu, not the guy I would grab.
He's actually got Warren. He corrected it a little bit down. So he's got Warren, Tyleek, and then
Warren
is technically what he wanted. He wrote Membu for the super chat, but he meant Warren.
No, man, you put it in the super chat. We have to go with that, buddy. Well, okay, so let's say Tyler Warren. Yeah, okay. So I think that's great. I think that would be delightful. Tyler Warren, and you just look, like we've talked about many times, I actually like Tyleek Williams more than I like Mason Graham. I like Mason Graham, but Ty Williams was, as I dug in this year, he was one of the first players that I watched some and like made a decision like, oh, I like this guy. This is a guy I'd like to see the Jets take at the defensive tackle position. So if we came out, because look, like I talk about all the time, like it's not like we argue about positions and all this stuff. The Jets historically, not only would they take the incorrect position, but they would take the flat out wrong player. You know what I mean? So if they come away like, yes, I would prefer this in the first round or that in the first round, but if they grab Membu, Graham, Ibuka, Tyler Warren in the first, I'm going to feel pretty good because I think those players are legit. Now, if they come out and they did this 3 guys, these are 3 guys I think will come in and Tyler Warren be in there instead of Membu, that they would come in and have immediate impact. And if they do take Trapillo in the third, it pushes that AVT to tackle idea. Like, it ebbs it a little bit. I don't love the idea, but the idea like you're talking about, Ryan, I've thought about it a lot more. And I do buy in more now. Like the idea, think about this, like that the Jets are actually going into this draft with their offensive line done. Like all they need to do is depth, guys. That would be an amazing smokescreen that they put out this year and would give me a lot of kind of confidence about their ability to run the organization. Like, because everybody's thinking that they're going Membu, right? Everybody's thinking that. The people think Tyler Warren's in there too, but I think most people are landing on the Jets taking Armand Membu in the first round. And imagine this, they have no intention. Their offensive line's done. They're going to be moving Tippmann to right guard and AVT to right tackle, and they're going to use the mid-round picks to get a developmental guy for the interior, like Don Woodson, Miles Frazier, some, you know what I mean? One of those guys. and that's what they're doing. That would be amazing. Like, not what I don't love. The idea of AVT to tackle, but we know he can play it, and if that's what they're doing, I think it would be really exciting. So these three guys, I would love it. If Trapillo comes in the third, to me, it's like he's the guy that they hope is going to start at tackle.
So Mark Riz brings something to my attention that I did not realize. Joy Taylor
Riz.
is Mason Taylor's
Oh,
aunt.
come on. No, it's not.
What do you say?
Type in Mason Taylor aunt. It seems spot on. I think it is.
Come on.
Yeah.
Who's Joy Taylor? Who is she?
Joy Taylor's the one from ESPN that got a lot of news hits earlier this year for allegedly, or maybe not allegedly, I don't know, working her way up the ladder.
You know what? Maybe I spoke too soon. I'm sorry. I've been a little jaded from the comment section and in the internet over the years. I was skeptical. I was like, come on, this can't possibly be real. But hand up, I think I'm wrong here. I'm sorry.
I had to look it up. Before I threw it on screen, I was like, there's no way. I was like, this guy's trolling. No, it's spot on. Joy Taylor is his aunt.
I thought we were just, well, it's Jason Taylor's son. That we know. So
yeah.
I thought
I
that
didn't know
chances
Jason
with
Taylor
other
was
things-
sisters with, I mean, maybe sisters, or maybe it's like other way. Really? No, the Taylor would have to be sisters, right?
Yeah. Unless she's married in.
Maybe. I have no idea. Blew my mind. Mudvile says, I like tight end in the second, but am I the only one who wants to trade back into the end of the draft and get an edge rusher and trade for Myers from the Raiders? I don't hate the idea of trading for Myers. I believe he's got 2 years left on his deal. I think we're going to have to give up
I
two
can't even
hot...
think about it.
Well, I don't really want to do it just because I don't want to give up the draft pick that I think I could have just taken a 4-year starter at tight end with instead of, the 2-year contract with Meyer. I do like edge rusher though. I think edge rusher is a sneaky position. When I was trying to make my top end of the second round list, I kept looking at edge rusher because it would not shock me if the Jets wanted to go that direction earlier than I think some fans want to see. Mainly because we don't know what's going on with Jermaine Johnson. Will McDonald, we're hoping he can take another leap, but it's kind of all we got at the edge rush room right now. So I could totally see that, Mud Files. I see Peter dropping in. Peter says, any combo of right tackle, tight end, wide receiver, strong safety in the first 4 rounds is ideal. Build depth in rounds 5 and 6 and undrafted free agents. Within 2 years, they end the playoff drought like Rory ending his 11 years not winning the Masters for his career slam. Long story short, I'm in a year-long fantasy where you draft 3 teams across a bunch of different sports, and the golf portion of it is you take three players. We took Rory, and now we're sitting pretty nice having the Masters win. I think he's got 2 other wins this year as well, so we're looking pretty good. So clap, a little golf clap for Rory for breaking that streak. And I agree with Peter here. Look, if you hit those 4 positions, I think with strong safety you could probably talk me into D tackle or linebacker. The first 3 positions to me are the most critical, and then I'm a little more open-ended for the defensive side of things, but trying to shore up the interior part of our defense to try and stop the run is absolutely awesome. And if we can end this playoff drought in the first 2 years, sign me up. Sign me up. I'm hoping we can kind of sneak in there and then we can ignore it, moving forward for a little bit. But I like this. Matt, any thoughts on Peter's super chat here?
I think he nailed it. Right tackle, tight end, wide receiver, strong safety, all pretty big needs for this football team. Building depth in rounds 5 and 6. That's what the 5th and 6th round's about, man. Try to get guys who could come in and contribute. The Jets have had too many day 3 guys who either don't make the team or gone in a year and a half. It'd be nice if they just found someone to be like, hey, this 5th round guy that we got is like our 3rd linebacker and a great special teamer. Like there's value in that, but the Jets struggle to find guys like that, it seems. So I like Peter S.'s positions that he listed out here.
Is Zach Thomas also Mason Taylor's uncle? Is that true?
Yeah.
No
Jason
way.
Taylor. Remember Zach Thomas?
I know Jason Taylor. I didn't realize Zach Thomas was as well.
Yeah, I forget how it went. Did Jason Taylor marry Zach Thomas's sister, right? Isn't that or the other way around?
I don't know.
You're right. Taylor married Katina Thomas.
Yeah, that was a big thing when they were playing.
I missed it.
Jason Taylor, I hated Jason Taylor, man.
Oh,
his whole career. I mean, he had that 1 year with us. He had a safety for us in the AFC Championship game against the Steelers. But I hated him, so much. But one of the things that I now look at as a positive for Mason Taylor, like Jason Taylor he had a long career, number one, but he was one of those guys that, like, his work ethic, like he was always working harder. Like that was kind of one of his things, right? Like Jason Taylor put in more work than anybody else. Like that was always the thing I would hear about Jason Taylor. I fucking couldn't stand that guy. But now you look at his son, like coming from that pedigree. It's one of the reasons I like him, because like he has, like, just like every college prospect, they have work to do. Everybody's got something to work on, right? Like he's not a blue chip. He's not coming in, a top 5 pick that's like this perfect prospect. He's got a lot of talent. He's got a lot of upside. And when that happens, you want to look at, like, what's the probability that this guy is going to put into work to work, to add to his game, to kind of refine that skill set. And Jason Taylor is his dad, and Zach Thomas is his uncle. You know what I mean? It's like he was brought up in that. Like Zach Thomas was another one. He wasn't supposed to make it. Remember that? He was like 5'7" or whatever the fuck he was. He like wasn't supposed to make it in the NFL, and he was one of the greats for that era. So anyway, that's why I like, it's not the reason, but it's one of the reasons I like Mason Taylor so much, is because I believe that because of that pedigree, he's going to be the guy that in 2 years, 3 years is actually better than he was, coming in. Like he's going to be the guy that works on his craft. You know what I mean?
Yeah, there's not many better examples to like have in your family tree than those two guys. Although admittedly, with those two and Joy Taylor, I feel like there's a lot of dislike towards the Jets. And I'm not so sure his ideal landing spot is a team that his dad and uncle grew up hating. But who knows? He's a good football player. Would love to bring him in. 𝐒𝐫𝐞𝐞𝐬 drops in, says McMillan in the first, tight end Taylor in the second, D tackle Alfred Collins out of Texas in the third. Again, I don't hate this route either. I think I've softened a bit on McMillan in the first just because of the way Fields kind of utilizes his wide receivers. Like I feel like going wide receiver in the first round is almost like I think Bean had said it last week maybe, where we went Will McDonald in the first round. It's like, okay, you need an edge rusher sort of for the future, but it feels like a future pick than a now pick. Like McMillan to me may not feel as much of a now pick when you're trying to like figure out Fields, unless Fields decides to start using wide receiver 2 a little bit more. And we like Taylor in the second, Collins in the third. I think I had Collins in the second in my original mock draft. I think third round is kind of where he's landed right around now. Bean, your thoughts on McMillan in the first, Taylor in the second, Collins in the third?
Yeah, I've cooled a little bit on Tet McMillan. I was all Tet for a while, and if they decide to go with him, I don't think it's a bad pick. I really don't. But he's the kind of guy that I worry, like, that'll end up with a Corey Davis-like career. Like in that top 7 picks, you take the wide receiver like a Kevin White, one of those guys. The problem with McMillan, with his strength and the ability to kind of, succeed against that press NFL cornerback, it's a concern, right? And I want somebody to come in and be immediate. I want them to be the wide receiver 2. If you're taking a wide receiver in the first or second, they got to come in and they got to be Robin to Garrett Wilson's Batman. Like, that's how I see it. Like, they got to come in. So I'd rather go Tyler Warren and then take a Jaden Higgins or a, Jalen Noel, or like, I even like Besh, like Matt said. And then I'd love to see a double dip a little bit later. I'm really hoping the Jets pull one out for me and grab Nick Nash or Dante Thornton later in the draft. Nick Nash is going to be, I'm telling you, he's going to make it in the NFL. He's one of the players I'm most confident about that'll be like that, just that possession wide receiver for 10 years. You know what I mean? That's what I see. That said, So I'm a little bit cooler on McMillan, E-Boogie. But going McMillan, Mason Taylor, and Collins, not the worst. I think I can sign up for this. I really could. I do like that Mason Taylor. He was like a fourth, third, in conversations. And I think I was always like, no way, man. This he can't possibly make it to the fourth round. And I think we're seeing him more and more in that second round conversation. And I think that's where he's going to end up going. I think he's a badass. So I could get with this, E-Boogie.
Matt, what about you? How are you feeling about this particular 3-round mock?
I still like Tet McMillan.
Yeah.
Why I don't mock him to the Jets as much is because it feels like the NFL, for whatever reason, has cooled off on him. I was watching something from Peter Schrager today, who's now of ESPN, and he was listing, like, I think it's his top 5 guys with biggest question marks in the draft about, like, well, where are they going to go? And one of his guys was Tet McMillan, and he was saying some NFL GMs are saying, like, man, he should go 4 to New England. That would make a lot of sense. And then there's other guys who are like, I won't touch him. I don't know if he likes football or not. So, like, I feel like he's a very polarizing guy. Like, people either love him or they hate him. I like his talent. I think he's someone who would complement Garrett Wilson really well. And wide receiver is such a huge need for this team. I'd be open to it, but I would be surprised if that was the pick the Jets made 7th overall.
Sticky hands. Very, very sticky hands.
Yeah.
Scar Cities comes in and says Warren, Higgins, Kevin Winston would be great. I could sign up for that.
Yeah.
I love Kevin Winston.
Me too. I'm going to watch some tape while we're talking. I'm going to not tape, highlights. I'm in highlight season now. I've done all my bullshit. Now I'm watching highlights to get
I want to see the
psyched.
best of the best. This is the guy that we're going to get 100% of the time. He's always getting,
This guy's
top
game
plays.
is perfect.
There's no flaws in this highlight.
Makes a big play every play.
I could live with this.
I just love how he comes down to the line of scrimmage and makes plays. Like, that's what I feel like the Jets are missing at the safety spot. I think Cisco could be that, like, roaming free safety, maybe intercept a few passes, but they need someone in the run game who could get down to the line of scrimmage and make a play. And that's where I think Winston thrives.
The Meadowland Swamp Thing says, what is Green Bean's football dudes only draft?
Oh, now we're talking.
Now, this is what I want to
I
hear.
should do one of those.
Who's your, like, this guy's football? I feel like Warren in the first is a pretty safe, like, this is a football player kind of move. There's a lot of guys, I guess, in the first, but
Yeah. Well, Kevin Winston's on that list. So if I was going just like badass foot, sadly, you got to go defense a lot in this one, right? But like Tyler Warren, like tight ends fall into that category. That's why I don't like purely pass catching tight ends. It's like, I don't know. I'll get a wide receiver if I want that. You know what I mean? Like my divas are going to be little fucking wide receiver punks. I want my tight ends to be like men, right? But Kevin Winston's on that list. Jihad Campbell's on that list. Alfred Collins is on that list. Kenneth Grant is on that list. Later on, I like Danny Stutzman is on that list. I should really do that. Like I gotta put one of those together. Like they call them the bloody knuckles. That's what I like to call them. Yeah. I like my guys with bloody knuckles. That's good.
I'm a fan of that. I would watch that mock. Infrared says Sean Payton had gotten 5 wins in his first year at Denver. We have to mimic whatever the heck he did. He had 5 wins last year. Is that what it was? Or 2 years ago? That's how they wound up with the, 12th pick?
Wait, what happened?
The Jets got their 5-win season out of the way early, though. I'm going to spin it that way.
Perfect. That sounds better. I like that mindset a little bit more than losing a bunch in the first round or in the first.
And he won 8 games. He won 8 games in 2023. That's what
in 23.
Yeah, with his first year in Denver, they went 8-9,
and they wound up with the 13th pick.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Wow,
that's the middle point of the draft.
Yeah. I don't know. I guess I just assumed because we were so close. We had what the 9th pick? Or did we have the 10th pick to start?
10.
We had 10.
And they won 7 games, which is one different.
Oh, yeah, math is hard. Oh, geez. It's amazing how it switches year to year. Eric comes in and says, I don't hate McMillan, but if Lazard is coming back, that wide receiver room is getting a bit crowded. Are we giving up on Corley? Interesting. I don't know if I would have thought that Lazard coming back would possibly, deter a wide receiver selection. I would... Let me think this through in my head.
Jets can't take McMillan because they have 7 wide receiver 4s.
Yeah, that's my first thought, right, Matt? It's kind of silly because we have so many depth pieces at wide receiver. We could absolutely stand to get rid of them. Like, you want to get rid of, God, I don't even know, any of them. Like even Lazard, if you really wanted to. I don't think any player outside of Corley outside of Garrett should really be considered a hurdle for us. You hope that Corley turns it around, so maybe you don't hit a receiver that's of his similar style, I guess. If you want to get the most out of Fields this year and you're kind of considering this like an all-in prove-it season for him, then maybe you're a little bit more on the developmental side for wide receiver and you're focusing more on like Warren in the first. Maybe you shift towards, D-tackle in the second or offensive line in the second, and you maybe try to go in that third, fourth, mid-round wide receiver range. Bean, what are your thoughts on not really so much McMillan, but the wide receiver room in general? And then, any thoughts on Corley at this point?
That's right. We didn't get a chance to talk about Lazard, right?
Mm-hmm.
The Jets have committed to Alan Lazard, everybody. Interesting. But I think it's, that move, we talked about it like a month ago. Like, don't be surprised.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody, we had these foregone conclusions, right, about the season, that Lazard was gone. Clemens, he's gone. Lazard's gone. Obviously, these guys are gone. And then you turn around and they're making they're restructuring his contract. And I think, look, you saved that $8.5 million, so it makes it more palatable that he's running around doing whatever he does. I like it because if he's your wide receiver 4, one part of his game that nobody's ever questioning is his ability to be an asset in the blocking game, right? And that could be downfield, for those wide receiver screen type of plays or, bubble screens and things like that. Or it could be on rushing downs, right? You have him out there, just have him crash down on the linebacker, knock the shit out of him, that kind of a thing. So I think he can be an asset. But when you look at Corley is a real X factor for me because I maintain, right? I've said this all season, all off season. It is, I find it disappointing that Jets fans are willing to write him off when we're basing it on the decisions. We all liked him coming out, to varying degrees, but everybody thought he's a pretty solid ass player. He was the yak king in college. He has a build that's 5 pounds. He's the same height, same playing style, and he's 5 pounds less than Marshawn Lynch. He's got great hands. He's got that running back background. He plays wide receiver like a running back because he was one. And we chalk him up as like, he's a failure or a bust based on the decisions of a staff that literally did not develop one single offensive player in 4 years and who had obvious issues with the wide receiver room. They brought in free agent wide receivers, couldn't even keep the last 2 that they signed for a full season. They had to get rid of them mid-season. Guys like Elijah Moore and Denzel Mims, and they just, they just sucked at evaluation, development, and utilization. So I think Corley, and then he had that one play, he drops the ball an inch before the end zone, and it bothers me when fans are like, oh, he's a fucking this or that because dude, it was a mistake. You know what I mean? He's not a punk. And we've talked about that. It's not him dropping the ball a half inch early is not indicative of anything to do with his ability as a player. So I think Malachi Corley, what?
Nah, I'm just yelling.
What'd you say?
No, I hate when people drop the ball. It's like a big pet peeve for me. I'm not going to hold it against him, but I'll never forget
Yeah.
it.
Well, of course, but neither is he. But it's like, I mean, how many? I mean, Garrett Wilson had, 2 or 3 fumbles, and and some, so an interception hit him in the chest, bounced into the air. Is that worse or not worse than what
I think
Malachi?
it's not worse because it's an intentional decision to flip the ball backwards, where like, I guess they're both mental lapses.
Oh
in
my
some
God,
degree.
dude! Anybody make
it's worse
and
to
this
cause more
includes you.
turnovers. So I'll say Garrett Wilson's turnovers were worse than the one
Of
from
course, they're
Corley.
definitely worse. And one, see, like, look, he's a rookie. So what you do with a rookie that makes a mistake? Again, the play was good. He didn't flip the ball in the air. He dropped it. He thought he was in the end zone. He dropped it. Not defending it. It's a stupid move. Nobody can say anything other than that. But what you do with a player that does that is you put him back on the field the next fucking play. The fact that it was held against him all year, like they benched him because of that to me is absurd and it highlights how poor of a coaching staff we had. Like, if you don't know how to take somebody with talent and build them up, like he drops the ball a half inch and an inch too early. Again, it's not like he threw it to the crowd. He wasn't like making a statement. He thought he was in the end zone. He was excited. That's all it was. He'll never do it again. You got to build those types of players. So for me, my hope is that this staff, they're actually coaches and they know, like, look, shit happens. He's a fucking talented kid. He's a 3rd round pick. Get him on the field and let's see what he can do. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think you're spot on with the coaching staff not developing the offensive side of the ball much. Like, they may come in here this year and say, let's evaluate the offensive side of this staff. Wide receiver, because of the way Fields plays, might be deemed more of that. Let's just see what happens this year. We've got Lazard as the stopgap for now. We've got Corley. We can invest more of a premium pick in the future if we wanted to do that, or assets, whatever you want to do, while also addressing tight end and whatnot. So, Matt, did I ask you about Corley, or did I throw this to Bean first?
No, with Corley, if I get anything out of him, I'm going to look at that as a win. I'm not counting on him going forward, just because I need him to prove it. And part of it might be the Jets coaching staff. I don't think Bean's wrong to bring that up because the Jets offensive staff, no one's going to confuse that, with a talented, coordinator or anything on that offensive side of the ball. So I get it. But I do think there is something to Corley not getting on the field, especially early, not after that mistake. I don't think it's right to just completely toss him away after that. But over the summer and through the year, there were talks about maturity issues. And if that's a real thing and putting him on the field might be a hindrance of that, and then he, drops the ball on the 1-inch line, it kind of proves the point of the Jets previous regime that they didn't think he was ready. And, he has a lot of growing up to do. And if he does that this offseason, then great. I would love to see him turn into a Deebo Samuel light for this offense. It'd be a lot of fun. But I'm not looking at it like, oh, okay, we got Malachi Corley. They're going to be fine at wide receiver. I think at best case scenario, he's like your 4th wide receiver this year. I think you need at least another body early in the draft to put in this wide receiver room.
Infrared says, what sucks for me with Lazard with my eye test is that he mostly plays as if he's scared to get hit. I think the drops for me were the most infuriating thing with Lazard. I don't know what he finished with in penalties, but I feel like he was pretty irritating from a penalty perspective too this past year. I do think that his blocking ability is probably what shines through the most, especially with the lower cap hit now, because you have a running quarterback in Fields, you have Breece, Braylon, and Isaiah that you're hoping to feed the rock to. Having someone or having a receiver that's, above average at blocking and isn't, kind of get me the ball kind of, wide receiver in Lazard is probably a lot of things that this regime, maybe gravitated towards. I think the way free agency also broke down with where wide receivers went and maybe the lack of interest in coming to the Jets, given, Fields being our quarterback, that may have played a factor in us retaining him. But I like bringing him back. I'm kind of okay with that. Peter says, pour one out for Tyron Smith, retired. That's right. He officially retired today.
Thanks for nothing.
Yeah, it didn't pan out nearly as well as we were hoping. Wish Olu had
Retired
started.
week 3, and we had to watch Aaron Rodgers get killed while he was still, he was still out there as a retiree.
Mm-hmm.
How many of those guys have been on the Jets over the years? Be like,
I saw Samini's tweet of it. It was like, I'll pull it up real quick. It was pretty funny. It's been a lot. Ed Reed is on that list.
Dalvin Cook, Le'Veon
Bell,
Chris Johnson, Matt
Aaron
Forte,
Rodgers.
Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah.
Who else did he throw on here?
Yeah, is Aaron Rodgers going to be a Steeler or what? What's the scoop?
Yeah, we'll find out
the
next
draft?
week. It'll be like just before the draft, or it'll be like maybe it'll be after the draft. We find out pretty soon, I would think. We found out what, Monday or Tuesday leading into the draft for him, like officially knew he was coming.
It was around this time.
Yeah, I think it was during the week of the draft. Why am I not seeing? I thought Samini had like a list of.
I think it was Rosenblatt.
Rosenblatt. Boom. Yep, there it is. Ronnie Lott, Ed Reed, Jason Taylor, Michael Vick, Dalvin Cook, Le'Veon Bell, Plexico Burress, Chris Johnson, LaDainian Tomlinson, Dwayne Brown, Matt Forte, Derek Mason, Ty Law, Aaron Rodgers. Dwayne Brown for me is like kind of stands out as like a doesn't really fit on that list, but
well, neither does Plaxico Burress and some of the other. I mean, what is
Burress
the
stands
parameter?
out. Burress had the Super Bowl with the Giants. He had a ton of years.
But what's
with
the
Steelers.
list? What is he saying the list is?
Of like first ballot Hall of Former Stars that played for the Jets at the end of their career.
Oh yeah, I guess.
Like Dwayne Brown to me of this list is the one that sticks out as like, I don't know if that. Derek Mason's probably in there too, but Ty Law's a good one. Man, I loved getting Ty Law. He was so good. Forte on the back end of his career, I was hoping we'd get a little bit more from. LT was productive. Of this list, I think
LT was probably the best one there.
Yeah.
Ty Law had 10 interceptions one year with us.
Yeah, that was insane. He had I think he had 3 or 4 his final game of the season too.
Yeah.
Of this list, Jason Taylor, LT, and Ty Law probably played the best of them.
There's
LT,
some real duds.
Yeah, really kind of disappointing. Consensus is that I shouldn't have added LT to the list. I thought LT played well for the year and a half.
He did.
We really played with him.
That's the thing. Does it qualify if they come here just like any other free agent to any other team and they play well for a couple of years?
That one didn't. He didn't. Well, I guess I don't know. Those are guys that I feel like came in that were so star powered in other. Let me throw it on the screen so people can actually see what we're looking at here. It's definitely like all these players to me, in my mind's eye, I envision them as a different team, not the Jets. Let's see if I can pull this down. And I'll add this up here. I think this is it. Go over? Didn't go over. All right, so that's the list from Rosenblatt. Like every one of these, except for like Dwayne Brown, I sort of look at and I say, all right, yeah, that's, we're their clear second team. We might have a little name on the little plate for the Hall of Fame, but everyone else kind of, falls off that list for me.
Yeah, Ronnie Lott had good years here. Mm-hmm. Ed Reed was done. Jason Taylor also played more years for somebody else. So he was good here and went. Mike Vick was done. Dalvin Cook was done. Le'Veon Bell played for the Ravens a little bit, but he was done. Burris went somewhere else too after us. I don't know. This list doesn't make any sense to me.
Really?
Oh, he went back to Pittsburgh.
Yeah, I mean, like, what do you mean? Like that they played here? At the end of their careers or toward the end of their careers? I mean, I don't know. It doesn't make any sense. Like, what is it? I don't.
I didn't realize Ty Law came back a second time.
Yeah.
I knew he had him for his 10 interception season. I didn't realize he came back after that.
Yeah, it was like a half year or something, I think, wasn't it? It was like the end of the year or something, I think.
Yeah, we got him
if I
for
remember
7
correctly.
games in 2008.
I don't know why, but that one always stands out to me. His second stint, I know this doesn't make any sense, but his second stint is more memorable to me than his first stint. I know that he wasn't, obviously he was better in 2005. He had the 10 interceptions, but when I think of Ty Law with the Jets, for whatever reason, my mind goes to 2008.
That's probably like young O'Leary coming to age.
Maybe an age thing.
That's probably what it was. Yeah, wow, I didn't even remember that. I didn't even think. And then he went to Denver after that for half a season. Wild, absolutely wild. And then you said Burris. I don't know what team.
He had like 2 games for Pittsburgh in 2012.
Yeah, Pittsburgh, then the Giants, then the Jets. Yeah, I didn't realize he
Like
went
Ronnie
back to Pitt.
Ronnie Lott, think about this. Like we're talking about the end of their careers when they were no longer stars. Ronnie Lott had 123 tackles in 1993 and 106 tackles in 1994, his last year. Is that somebody who's no longer good at the safety position? 123 tackles, four forced fumbles, 3 interceptions. Like, the fuck are we talking about? Like, I don't know. It looks like a reach to me. Like, I get it. There's lots of guys you could add, but it's like, I don't know. This seems like this is dumb to me. It's a collection. Some of the guys qualify, like Ed Reed, Mike Vick, Dalvin Cook. But I don't know. Like, Ronnie Lott was a badass.
So 2 of his top 3 tackling seasons happened as a Jet.
Yeah. Yep. Like, he was a badass. Like, think about it. He had 3 interceptions, 4 forced fumbles, 2 fumble recoveries, and 123 tackles and a sack. Is that no longer a star? What does that sound like to you?
Sounds like
good,
a
bad?
solid season. We'd take that all
Sounds
day.
pretty fucking good. Like, what are we talking about?
Red John says Brett Favre. Favre played phenomenally well for us and then got hurt and then played lights out for the Vikings. So I almost like, he's not wrong. He's probably does deserve to be in this list. But like,
Yeah, I don't think he's there because of what you just said, because he went to Minnesota and had success after that.
yeah. Let's see. I'm just trying to see if there's any other names.
Look, it's one thing. Like, look, there's so much you can make fun of with the Jets, right? Like, it's just so easy. And then there are lists like this. It's like, this is a reach. This is like, all right, you're trying too hard now. This is just stupid. You know what I mean? To me.
I mean, would you say, outside of Lott and like LT, I do feel like most of this list is pretty, hey, look, the Jets got a washed up has-been. I would bet other teams probably have some of that, but like, it feels like we have a lot of like.
Sure. Yeah,
name
no, totally.
recognition.
Yeah, you got Art Monk on there. Art Monk, though, he did well for us. He broke the record. He broke one record with us, like most consecutive games with a catch or some stupid shit like that. Wait, Art Monk.
Rico says Derek Mason played for the Jets. I don't remember that. I think it was only 2 years. Is that right?
No, not even. Not even. It wasn't even a season. Yeah, he left.
Yeah, thanks. They moved on from Jericho Cotchery so that they could bring in.
I remember that.
Well, they brought in Derek Mason. So they let Braylon Edwards and Brad Smith go. They brought in Plaxico Burress from jail and Derek Mason. And Cotchery demanded to be traded. He said, I want out. This is complete bullshit. And then we did it. We ended up cutting him and getting another guy we got nothing for. He went to the Steelers and had like, what, 5 more great years? Koch was a badass.
I love Cotchery. The play where I think he tore his groin and dove sideways to like catch a third down. It was either third or fourth down, like in long. Just a gutsy play.
Did you realize that Jericho Cotchery had 10 touchdowns in 2013 with the Steelers? 10.
I did not. I definitely did not. How many years did he play?
So 2015, which is kind of wild.
What?
Yep. 5 more years. and we let him go. That was the Rex Ryan and Tanny. That was the belief. Like Rex Ryan believed at that point. He came in as a head coach. He had 2009, 2010, and he thought he could get anybody to do to play. That's what like they were. And it's one of those things like when you let a guy kind of run rampant, like that's why you need a GM, right? You need a GM that has some balls and knows what he's doing, and you can't let the caveman run the shop. Like, look, go out there, coach the shit out of the guys and everything. That's why we drafted Copels. Like everybody said, don't touch this guy. He's a lazy bum. Rex Ryan believed that he could motivate him and all that kind of shit. And we watched the team just erode. Like we're still granted now it's been long enough that it's no longer reeling from 2010, but we still haven't put it back together since that year. That 2011 offseason was the worst. Like we were this great team. Everybody wanted to play here. They were like brothers. And that 2011, they got rid of Sean Ellis, Kochery, Braylon Edwards, Brad Smith. All the guys were gone.
Yeah, I remember keeping
Thomas
on
Jones.
to Holmes and being like, no, I wanted Braylon. I want the Dougie over top of the Patriots every year. Just shoot it through my veins. Oh,
yep.
That hurt.
We had Santonio Holmes, Plaxico Burress, and Derek Mason. That was and it was just like, you want to talk about diva punk asses. We went hard that way.
Mr. Downtown says, big omission of Zach Blatt's list is CJ2K, Chris Johnson. He's right there. He's on the list.
Yeah, he's right there.
Boom. I put a little
He
green
sucked.
thingy. He was fast. He's so fast.
That's it.
He made fast people look not fast. Losing Riggins really
he ended
hurt.
up, and again, but even with him, it's like, he played 3 more years for the Cardinals.
I feel like he looked all right too. Or was he not able to stay healthy? Was that what his MO was?
Yeah, he was kind of done, but it's like when you see, there was recently we saw that guy who beat up his wife. He was a Jets running back for 1 year, and he was another team's running back for 2 or 3 years.
It was Rams
Jets
2 years. I think is what it was.
Jets running back beats his girlfriend. It's like
catching strays. It's like we want them to think it's Breece Hall. We want them to think it's Braylon Allen or something crazy. Yeah,
that's our lot,
3 years from Chris Johnson. We had 1 year with him, got 663 yards, got another he had 814 total yards, 2 total touchdowns between receiving and rushing. And then he had 1 year in Arizona that was all right, 800 yards, but looks like he only played 11 games, and then he was hurt the next 2 years as well. So his career really fizzled out after Tennessee. And I think, was 2014 when they got Derrick Henry? Is that right? I feel like that was the switch off.
I think it was 2016. They got the Dallas running back.
That's who I'm thinking of.
Okay, what the fuck was his name?
Yep, Murray.
Yeah, thank you. I was picturing his face. I couldn't think of the name.
I can't think of what the first name was. Something. DeMarco Murray. There it is. Damn. Yeah, 2016 was Derrick Henry. Does Tebow count for name recognition? Maybe.
Yeah, kind of. Honestly.
Yeah, I mean, he was when we got him, it was like, all right, this is stupid. What are we doing? And then the way we used him, I thought was even dumber than how we actually could have used him. I wish we could take that back. That was basically everything about that 2008-9 team that everyone loved. We just flipped on its head for the next 2 years after that. And I feel like we were a very unlikable team from once Revis went down with the injury, you draft D. Milner and Sheldon Richardson. We've had a friggin' run of it. It is not ideal. Go back over.
Yeah, we sucked, dude.
We have some things to think about as an organization, and hopefully, what do you think of the Jets offering buyouts to people to kind of weird way refresh the whole organization? How many how much do the pieces in like say marketing or administrative roles or like non-football areas, does any of that matter to the overall culture of a team and an organization, Matt?
Yes, clear, drain the swamp, get him out. Everybody out. I want the doorman out. Well, everybody.
Bean, what do you think about that?
Yeah, I mean, get rid of that security guard. You know, he's that guy. He's been hanging around here a long time. What does he do? Does anybody believe that if something, if the shit really hit the fan, that guy's doing anything? Fucking grab him by his ankles and beat him against the wall. What is he doing? You know?
Once he got it, once he became an enemy of Green Bean, he became an enemy of mine.
Yeah, that guy sucks. He's been here the whole time. All of our losing. Like, get out of here, everybody, right? The whole thing. The groundskeeper, everybody out.
I don't like the way you zigzag on the lawn. Horizontal. I want checkerboard.
Too many injuries. Get out of here.
It's ridiculous. Chris Ivory was a beast too. Yeah, I mean, we had a great, what was it, 2 years with him before we moved on from
3.
3 years? He was solid. Once he
Yeah,
did
he
the
was
whole
a
football
badass.
butt wipe thing, I was like, oh, really, dude? Like,
That wasn't him.
No. That was Crowell.
oh,
wasn't
that's
Ivory.
Crowell. That's what I'm thinking of. Yeah, no, Ivory was his Crowell not 15?
Injury. Yeah, it was Crowell. Ivory's issue was injury. That's it. He was a badass. And that, you know, I think Chris Ivory, we had Chris Ivory in 2015.
Yeah. Crowell, I think, was that with Darnold, maybe? Was that when that game?
Yeah, that game.
Yeah, because Baker Mayfield came in that second half of that game. Interestingly enough, it was Tyrod Taylor. The first half, we were dominating. And then Baker Mayfield come in, as we like to be. We, the hero game. Baker Mayfield came in, his first game ever, and he steals the show, and he wins the game in the second half. Yeah, that's us. That's also the Jets' role.
Yeah, we're kind of a punching bag when it comes to like
The coming out game, you know?
Yeah.
Oh,
Stupid.
God.
Exhausted.
Infrared throwing a few Furies beans in there. I think Beans been mostly non-frozen since he switched cameras. Brian Cox.
Am I frozen?
No, you're good now. I didn't even see a freeze if you did. Brian Cox was huge for us, and then we traded him. Wound up going having a. Was it? Oh no, I'm thinking of friggin'.
No, we didn't trade.
No,
Brian
we didn't
Cox.
trade him. I'm thinking of Farrier.
Yeah, Farrier. We didn't trade him either.
Was he a free agent?
He just free agent. Yep. We got nothing. So he was the guy that we had the number one. The last time we had the number one overall pick, Parcells traded back from number one. He had the number one overall pick. He netted a third, a fifth, and a seventh. Got nothing for it. He passed on Orlando Pace, Hall of Famer, Walter Jones, Hall of Famer, grabbed Farrier, who was middling for us. He was fine. But then he goes to the Steelers and he led the league in tackles for fucking 5 straight years.
Forever.
We just suck.
Red John says Testaverde.
Sick of it.
We went to an AFC Championship game with Testaverde, but I guess and I don't know if he ever clicked. Like, we got him as very much a not clicked player. And then I guess he had from 97 to the end of his career, maybe had some middling success.
Yeah, I mean, he played until his 40s. He actually ended up on the Patriots for a minute there.
He's on the
as
Panthers,
a
the
backup.
Cowboys. He's been on a bunch of teams now.
He bounced around. But, I mean, look, his best, Testaverde had some good years in Cleveland. But, yeah, I mean, his best was with us, I think. I'm pretty sure.
I like Rico's comment here. Chris Ivory was the original ran like he hates the ground rusher, him and Marion Barber. Marion the Barbarian, violent.
I liked him.
Yeah, they were fun to watch. Mark says Vilma was traded. I loved Vilma. I had his jersey for a minute, and then it's like him and Kerry Rhodes were 2 Jets I really liked and was bummed when we got rid of him.
Well, it's because Mangini came in and it was like, I want to run a 3-4, and this is a 4-3 inside linebacker. Can't keep him. It did get Nick mangled, so we can't cry over that one too much. But Vilma was awesome. Rookie of the year in 2004.
Well, he didn't get us mangled. He got
Mangold was Abraham. Yeah. But Vilma, we let go because he drafted David Harris the year before in the second round. And
then
he was out. I mean, in his defense, he was outplaying Vilma.
Yeah.
You know that. Yeah. But yeah, I
'Cause
mean,
think
imagine having
was
Vilma
a
and
Mangini
Harris.
guy. I think.
Who?
Wasn't
for
Vilma
2 years.
Mangini?
Okay, I'm mistaken. He was here for 2 years 2 years with Mangini.
Christopher Byers says Bledsoe. Was Bledsoe on our team? Did that happen?
No.
I was going to say. I didn't think so. Crossfire says, to add on to Bean's point about Jets being coming out games, don't forget Brady was due to us as well. Shut up, Crossfire. I'm trying to forget it. Trying to have PTSD here.
Yeah.
Trying not
Bean
to.
hates that one.
Oh, God, it sucks.
Yeah, I hate it because we've taken one of the all-time Jets and we've relegated him to that, like somehow
Causing the dynasty.
Yeah, I mean, every fucking New York Jet fan freaked out in the same way. That was the September 11th game. It was the first game after the September 11th tragedy. The Jets play the Patriots. Drew Bledsoe was the first $100 million quarterback. He just signed it that year in NFL history. He was like one of the top quarterbacks in the league, and Mo Lewis fucking crushes him and knocks him out of the game. Everybody was excited about that. And it just so happened that a floppy-titted, no muscle, 6th-round pick ran on the field and ended up being the greatest quarterback of all time. It's like fucking bullshit.
So I got an interesting Tom Brady adjacent question to ask you guys. Not pro football, but I saw that Hunter and Sanders are going to be inducted into the Colorado Ring of either Hall of Fame or Ring of Fame or whatever. They're retiring both jerseys. And my one friend was like, Sanders is definitely getting that because his dad's the coach. And I do tend to agree. But then I started thinking, I was like, I wonder if he has a good career, if it would justify, putting him in the ring. And then I had to look it up, and Tom Brady's not in the ring for Michigan because he didn't play much at Michigan. Sanders, on the other hand, is probably the best quarterback in Colorado history, and he only played 2 years as opposed to the 4 years that the people ahead of him on the passing list are like. I think he probably has some argument for it. But what are your thoughts on, I guess, retiring Hunter and Sanders at Colorado? And should Brady be retroactively inducted to the Michigan ring for everything he did as a pro? Matt, I'll throw that one to you first.
I can't come on here and tell you I know the Colorado Buffs history.
I have no idea.
No, it's
not in there, but they were both really good players for Colorado. So I don't think it's really that's honoring what they did there. I don't think it's contingent on what they do in the NFL after this.
Rico says Cordell Stewart was more successful quarterback at Colorado. His jersey isn't retired. Yeah, I think Colorado only retired 4 jerseys. I didn't realize Joel Klatt went there too. I don't know how he performed, but I like Joel Klatt as an analyst. Brian Bourne comes in and says, what do you think most important in the draft, player value, position value, or team need? I think it depends on where and when you're picking. Inside the top 10, I feel like those players really need to be about the player themselves. You don't want to take a shithead in the top 10 of your draft, especially on who your coaching staff is. Aaron Glenn coming in, I feel like his first pick inside the top 10 needs to be a statement pick for what his regime is going to stand for moving forward. So that's kind of where Warren and Membu kind of fall on my list, and why McMillan has kind of fallen a little further down on my list. Then there's other teams let's say the Steelers somehow wound up with a top 10 pick, or the maybe the 49ers, or a team that would maybe a more stable coaching staff. They can take a higher risk player that skill-wise should go in the top 10, but might not be considered I don't know. I guess there's a red flag. What's his face he's on Washington now. The tackle that fell. He was on Houston, Miami. Why am I drawing a blank on his name?
Laremy Tunsil.
Tunsil had the gas mask and that sort of thing. you can overlook some of that stuff to be able to, take them when you're not making so much of a statement pick, I guess. Which probably, I guess Miami maybe not the best example of that, but for the Jets right now, I think it's most important to go positional value at area of need, and for Glenn in the first round specifically, having a player that embodies how you want the team to view your team. I felt Sauce and Garrett and Jermaine were and Brees even for that matter, were all kind of statement picks. Glenn's number 7 pick should be a statement pick in my mind. Bean, I want to hear from you. What are your thoughts on what's most important? Draft player value, positional value, or team need?
It's such a loaded question, Mr. Bourne, which I hope I loved your movies, The Bourne Identity and
Jason
and Jason Bourne. Oh, sorry. But
he's actually related.
I mean, yeah, it's your brother. He's done well. He escapes, so he really gets out of some sticky situations, that guy.
Did you know his aunt is Joy Taylor?
That's right. There you go. It's been not confirmed. But yeah, I mean, I think the most important thing is to make sure that the players that you're bringing on your team are upper echelon talent as consistently as you can do that, the better you're going to be. Because the thing that you should have in place, which the Jets have really struggled to do, is to have a coaching staff in place that knows the game of football inside and out and knows how to maximize talent, right? So not just they're an expert in this one thing that they know how to do, and they need to waste 3 years getting the players that can do that for them, right? Which is what we see a lot around here. So I think talent, high level talent, blue chip talent is that's when you hear, best player available, right? But not to a fault, right? So obviously if you have a running back stable, it's when you hear all this stuff, the Jets are trading Breece Hall. We have a running back stable. We have 3 very good running backs, young running backs. So taking a best player available at the position of a position of strength on the team is something that you see piss poor teams do. We're disciplined to our philosophy, and it's, yeah, dude, I get you. The best player on the board is the same position that you're stocked in, but maybe, just maybe, the other guy, he's almost as good and he fills a need that you have fucking nobody at. So it's got to be that balance. So it really does depend. I think, then there's premium positions. There are positions that impact the game more directly. If you have a really good top 5 quarterback, that can mask a lot of other things. If you don't then have, a top 3 wide receiver, you can have a top 5 quarterback and 3 top 20 wide receivers and still be an effective offense. Conversely, you can have a top 2 wide receiver and a bottom end quarterback and do nothing. You see what I mean? And that's where positional value comes in. So, it's really a blend of all of it. I think in the draft this year for the Jets, what we're really looking to do is to bring in the best possible talent that we can, because we have holes all over the place. But we have so many holes that you can justify you get the best player available at one of those needs. That's what you have to do. You can't go and bring in Genty and then have this crowded backfield that effectively dilutes the talent that you have on your team, the one area that you can consider a strength. And then we have no right tackle, no wide receiver 2. Our tight end room is bottom end. You know what I mean? You can't do that. So the really good teams know how to do that. You bring in the best talent that you can, and you make sure that you don't have holes on your team. You look at the Eagles this year. When you look at their team, it's hard to find a weakness. That's what you want to do, because they know how to draft. They're drafting and free agency for that matter, for the most part. You bring in the best possible talent at the position that you need that talent at. That's what you do.
Matt, your thoughts on player value, positional value, team need?
I think it's kind of a mix of best available, but it has to be at something that you genuinely need, because that's how you end up drafting an interior defensive lineman in the first round like 5 times in 8 years, right? Because the Jets did it in 2011, 12, 13, 15, 19. So I get it. Sometimes it's hard to pass up on a guy because, oh, they're supposed to be, you know, the number 1 guy in the draft just happened to fall to you. But I don't think you can go on with the blinders and just be like, we're going to have our list. We're going to cross out names as they come, and we're just going to take the guy who's at the top of the list every time as best available. I don't think that's the wise way to go about the roster building.
Keith comes in. Keith says, Trey Harris, Ole Miss wide receiver, round 2, please. Thoughts? My knock on Trey Harris is the injuries. That's my biggest concern with him. If he stays healthy, I had no problem with the Jets taking him in the second round. I admittedly am concerned about all injury-related players when it comes to this damn franchise. So that's my only knock on Trey Harris. But I like the player. Matt or Bean, any thoughts on Trey Harris?
Go ahead, Matt.
I like the player too. The injury is a bit of a concern, though. He's someone who I think if he didn't have these injuries might be going higher, kind of like like the Penn State safety we were talking about earlier, Kevin Winston. But it worries. There's other options I like in the second round. I would say potentially better, but he's not a bad player.
Bean, what about you? Your thoughts on Trey Harris?
I'm right with Matt on that one. Let me look at something. I wanted to. There was something that stuck out to me. I don't know if I'll find it. Because my brains, you know what I mean? It's hard for me. I'm not Dom C. I can't pull out every single thing that I've learned over the past 5 years. You know what I mean? Like, he's like, oh yeah.
His retention is incredible,
Yeah.
Dom.
He's unbelievable.
He's like, oh, mother's favorite meal at Applebee's is XYZ. This is why he's a great player. Bam.
Yeah. You know what? You know, the thing is, too, is like it's Ole Miss, too. So, I don't know. Ole Miss wide receivers, Elijah Moore.
DK Metcalf.
I don't know. Yeah, well, and, you know, look, A.J. Brown, right? They're studs all over the place. But I don't know. I'm not going to find. There was something that I don't know. I just can't even think of what I was thinking of. But, yeah, I mean, I like him. I think, you know, in the second round, I really do hope that we get a pass catcher like that. Now, if they decide, like, it's going to be interesting because we don't know what kind of guy they're going to be looking for, right? Do they want that big body guy? Do they want a quick, shifty guy? Somebody that, you know, look, like right now, if you look at it, you have Garrett Wilson, you have Malachi Corley, who's not big per se, but he's got that big playing style, right? And then you have Alan Lazard, and you got Reynolds, who's 6'3", right? Isn't Reynolds 6'3"?
I think that's right.
Josh Reynolds. I don't like the way Reynolds is spelled, by the way. I think it should be spelled
Roads.
Roads. How tall? Yeah, 6'3". So, you know, I mean, who knows, right? But if they it's going to be, you know, this is an interesting year because it's good. We're going to see, like, so if they decide, hey, we want a stable of wide receivers, we want all of them to be big guys. And then they bring on, you know, big tight ends. And then you have the running backs, you know, Aaron Glenn is on record saying, you know, he really likes the style of our running backs, that they're, you know, how they run. He used the word violence, you know, so we're going to use them the way they want to be used. You know, they have a running style, so we're going to use them to the style they want to run. I like that, you know, so it's going to be interesting to see, like, all right, I think they're going to bring a wide receiver in the first 3 rounds, and they should, but who will it be? And if it is a Trey Harris, you know, I'm going to support whoever it is. But it's like that year. Do you guys remember, what was it? I forget what year. I think it was McCagnon, but it might have been 𝐒𝐿𝐵𝐞 when we drafted Devin Smith in the second round. Do you guys remember that?
I do.
Oh yeah.
And there were other. It's interesting because the wide receivers that kind of surrounded him at that pick, not many of them, like Dorian Green, Beckham, or some shit like that. Like he ended up being okay, and there was a few guys that did okay, but nobody really did that well. So in hindsight, it's not like they were way off. But like when he drafted Devin Smith, like we all knew they were going wide receiver. It was like, that's the guy that you chose. I hope that we don't see something like that, with the Jets, and I don't know who that would really be. Like so I like Trey. I like him. If they decide to draft Trey Harris, I feel pretty good about it. I think it's a good pick. But I don't know. I think right now it's just like learning how they want the offense to look, which types of players do they want to bring in? I think it's really going to be about that, what they bring personality-wise, like how they play the game, not only talent. Like, oh, look, he's really fast. Yeah, that's great. But is he the makeup? Is he going to respond to the type of discipline that we want to instill in this team? And that's I think, going to set one player apart from the other. And I think it's going to be really fun to watch this draft unfold and see kind of if they're consistent with that and what type of team they're trying to build.
Christopher brings up a bunch of good second-round wide receivers. A lot of guys we discussed earlier in our show. If you guys didn't check that out, we list, obviously, our top 3 guys we think for the second round, some varying positions and whatnot. But Higgins, Harris, Besh, Knoll, and Williams, all great options at wide receiver, depending on what your cup of tea is. Do you want a fast guy? Do you want a tall guy? Do you want a route-running guy? Lots of different things that could come to fruition. I did want to pull up, I have the list of guys that are attending the draft, because it looks like, at least for my thinking, I don't think the Jets draft pick is going to end up being in person. So there's no Membu, no Tyler Warren on this list. Now, Mason Graham is there. We did meet with him a few times. Will Campbell is mentioned, a little bit in Jet circles that I've heard about. I think Jalen Milroe and Jackson Dart, those two in particular, feel like they stand out a little bit, like might be waiting until day 2 potentially. But does the list of draft attendees, Bean, I'll throw this to you first, does that dictate that the NFL feels they're definitely going in round 1, or do you think we might have a Geno Smith type situation where he has to wait till the beginning of day 2?
Well, that's it. Is that all of them?
That's all the attendees on site. I mean, maybe they add more, but this was as of yesterday.
You know what I see? This is like a grumpy old man for a second. Okay. This is me. I'm going to turn on my grumpy old man hat. And this bothers me a little bit. Like, it seems to me like what I pick up here is that there's a devaluation of the thrill, of the notoriety, of the pomp of going to the draft and walking out on that stage and being a part of the festivity. I just think, I don't know, like, and it's like kind of what happened with the Pro Bowl. Like, the last few years that they had the game, it was like, they would run into the line and they would just touch them and they would hold them. It was like, it's like now, like all these like business decisions that you're seeing. I gotta tell you, I hate it. Like, I hate the way that it's all going. Like, to me, I would think 50 people would want to, like, there should be 50 players attending the first round of the NFL draft, with just that chance that you get to be the guy walking on stage. But it's more, I think they would rather like protect the image if you're not the guy, rather than be the guy sitting on the chair all night. You know what I mean?
It's almost like sitting out your
that's
bowl
what I
game.
see.
Yeah.
What's that?
It's almost like sitting out your bowl game.
Yeah, it's like I don't know. It's like the whole thrill, the excitement of it all is being deadened to me. And I hate it. I really do. I hate everything. I hate that they trade jerseys after the game. I want to believe that my quarterback is upset that they lost. You know what I mean? Like, and they're not. They're just not. Nobody's. It's like they go out there and they play the game of football and then they laugh and because they're all multimillionaires. Even the guy who's making nothing, the fucking vet minimum guy or the undrafted free agent, he's making 3 times what I make and I work 18-hour days and I'm, digging holes and, it's like all this shit. It's like, I just want to believe that they give a shit. And like every year there's something new that comes out that just tells me that they don't. You know what I mean? Like there's no Pro Bowl's garbage now. And dude, the Pro Bowl when I was a kid was fun. Like these guys wanted to be the guy who was like the MVP of the game of MVPs. Like even the NBA, like in the old days of the I remember like Isaiah Thomas and Magic Johnson, like they would be like the All-Star game and they would like try to show each other out. It was like the best of the best in that moment. And it was fun for the fans to see this. And it's just, everything's fucking bullshit. I can't believe this is the whole list, Ryan.
It's crazy.
I'm upset.
Sanders isn't on the list. That's the only name from a quarterback perspective that like surprised me. Obviously, you got Cam Ward on there. Matt, what do you think about Jalen Milroe and Jackson Dart on this list, and what are your thoughts overall?
Only 17 guys.
It's nuts.
That's what I was gonna say.
There's 32 fucking picks.
I was gonna go right there. Is the list is only 17 names, but you have like Jackson Dart and Jalen Milroe there. I guess because quarterback is such like the polarizing position. But this might bode well for your over.
I was good. That's where I was heading with this. 3.5 was the over/under in the first round. I'm taking the over. Stick it with it. I flip-flopped enough.
I'm getting old. I really am old. I know I am. I know I'm old.
No, hey, I agree.
This is what happens.
It's there's drama. I want the drama on the field. Like I want our players on the Jets to hate our division rivals as much as I do. Like the long-term guys, like Jason Taylor playing on the Dolphins forever, he hated the Jets. And I love it. Like, because I hate him. And then he comes here and it's like this total upside down, like, what the heck's going on? Like, it shook me when he wound up being a Jet. And like, when Revis went to the Patriots, I fucking hated that guy. Like, I despised Revis for a solid, like, bunch of years. And like, I just couldn't get over it. Like, that's how I want my players to be. I want them to hate each other. I want a little more, like, negativity in the sport. I don't like everyone being friends.
Passion.
Yeah.
Right?
100%.
Negativity, it's passion.
Yeah, and now they change teams so much, there's like rarely that loyalty, which is another reason that I can't take that Jets fan shit on Mo Lewis. 12 fucking years he gave us. All pro level guy, 12 years. And we relegate him to like, just because Tom Brady was the guy that walked off the fucking bench. It's bullshit. Like, we never see it anymore. Like, these guys, they don't give a shit about like a hometown discount. They're like, what does that even mean? What are you talking about? Hometown discount. If I can make $8.75 more playing for Carolina, I'm fucking going to Carolina. Hometown discount. It's like it just doesn't exist. Everything sucks. And we can't even watch more than 7 wins. Everything sucks. And on top of that, we suck in the world of suctitude. You know what I mean? And then the Samini, here's a list of losers that were once great and that put on your uniform and sucked. Go fuck yourself. Everybody.
Let green bean cook. Sean brings up, he says, I love that Dion Dawkins hates us and we hate him. Yes, that is the type of hate that I do love to see. That's good. It's healthy. Fuck that guy. Give me more of it.
Yeah. He was right, unfortunately.
Yep, he was 100%. I fucking hate when they're right, Matt. I hate it.
Yeah. All off season, like, oh, I hate Dion Dawkins. And then it's like, yeah, you might have been right.
I guess we do stink.
And then we play him and you watch him dominate our guys. And you're like,
oh, God almighty.
Him and his fucking floppy tits. You know?
Green Bean, I know we got to get you out of here in a little bit. Joe Douglas was announced as one of the scheduled hosts of Fox Sports Radio's Draft Night Live event That sounds great, but no one's going to be watching that because they're going to be watching the Talkin' Jets live stream. Boom! Right here on the Talkin' Jets channel for all 3 nights of the draft. That being said, I do want to hear some of the insight that comes up when the Jets are on the clock and what he would do versus like what he's done in the past. Like that does entice me a little bit. Matt.
Yeah.
We'll go Bean, your thoughts, then we'll go Matt.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. It's weird. I just don't. I'm interested too. You know, like because like again, like I don't hate Joe Douglas. I mean, he failed. Ultimately, he took a big swing at the end. It was a big whiff, and it just is what it is. And so I'm interested, but I don't know how his personality for TV. I mean, I don't know. You know what I mean? That's a little bit interesting. Like, okay.
I think it's a 5 or 6 person panel for them, so he doesn't have to like carry the load. He doesn't seem like a very personable guy, but like the commentary he can give specifically about our Jets more than anything is probably interesting. Matt, your thoughts?
If the Jets take a wide receiver in the 3rd round, then he goes, "Oh, actually, I had this guy as my 4th rated wide receiver." Then you know we have a problem.
Oh,
yeah, they should ask him. So if your coach makes a point that this is the one player he needs in the draft and that the GM trades up to get him, do you feel like the coach should find a way to get him on the field, or is that not a priority?
Ablab jumps in with a 10 spot. Thank you, dude. Says, gang, it's all LeBron's fault. He pussified the
He's
league.
right.
LeBron.
Partially right. I think Peyton and Brady are also kind of ish. I shouldn't say ish to blame because they were 2 of like super competitors, but like I feel like the NFL babied them during that same time frame.
Can we just end the LeBron versus Michael Jordan baloney? Michael Jordan would have he would have wiped the floor with LeBron James.
What pisses me off about LeBron is kind of the same thing that pisses me off about Josh Allen. Like they're such big, imposing guys, and they just fucking flop all over the place. Like it.
Yeah, I just can't stand
it. I hate it. It burns me up. That's what a kicker does, not a quarterback, not a fucking forward or whatever. Ugh.
That's right.
I was gonna say I don't disagree with Green Bean, like especially on the LeBron versus Jordan debate. I'm on the same side. But it is funny that you just went on that old man yells at cloud rant and then now we're doing the whole Jordan overload.
It fits right in, dude. And Ablab goes, Jordan, in the thing, right? I know, Ablab, we're together on this shit. We think the same. We're old fucking fogies.
Before we get too far, I know Bean's got to go. Can we steal you for the baggage claim real quick?
Yeah, I'm going to drop the list. I'm going to drop the list in the chat.
Want to do it right now? Can we do it right now?
Sure. Let me get one more chicken dinner.
Winner. Chicken dinner.
I'll get one more chicken dinner. Let's see who the final chicken dinner is here.
How many?
And the winner is. I got to do another one. Eric already got one. Hold on. We're gonna have 21, Ryan.
21. Whoops. I don't know what that logo means.
Absolutely, Mutt Viles. Absolutely, buddy. And the winner is Infrared. Infrared got one too. Hold on. He's already qualified. Like I said, it does. If they have multiple super chats, that's one thing. But I only allow my rules over the past number of years that I've developed in my system. They are only allowed 1 qualification per Nightbot. Zachary Burner, he got one too.
Damn it!
Hold on.
I wish Nightbot would give us a
Nightbot, man.
randomness.
Nightbot, be original, Nightbot, you bastard. There's 214 people. It just gave me 3 doubles.
There we go.
Files. There it is. He didn't get one yet tonight. All right.
Boom.
Thank God.
All right. So you want to, so we could just do it.
So we got 21.
Okay.
We'll do
21, Ryan.
3 random clicks. 1, 2. Number 10. Who's number 10, Green Bean?
That is Mr. Downtown. I don't think he's won yet.
Oh, Mr. Downtown. Let's see what you get. Ooh, no whammy, no whammy, no whammy. Almost eggs. He gets a shirt.
Almost eggs. Dude, I got to send you guys a picture of how many eggs I have.
He's hoarding them from his chicken.
You get eggs that Green Bean personally laid delivered to your house.
I get a dozen eggs every day.
That's wild.
Yeah,
That's
I have
awesome.
I'm going to do something called water glassing where you put like these eggs in this solution like in water. You just put them in and it'll keep for like a year.
What?
So like
I've heard
during
eggs
the
can keep
winter
for
when
a long time.
What's that?
I've heard eggs can keep for a long time. I've never heard the water.
Yeah, we don't wash them. Like we just leave our eggs, you know, like right on the counter. But if you don't wash them, eggs come out with this like film on it. Like what they do in processed eggs is they clean the film off, they bleach it, and then they go bad quicker. Regular eggs, like if you just don't wash them, they'll keep for like 2 months, 3 months. It's crazy.
That's cool. Gotta get me some chicken.
Dude, I probably have 12 dozen eggs in my fucking house right now.
Mr.
Yeah.
Downtown. Reach out, jetstalk247@gmail.com or talkinjetshow@gmail.com and let us know your shipping address and shirt size, and we'll send you out a shirt. Maybe it'll be a shirt with eggs on it. Maybe.
Yeah. Right. We should do that.
We should probably do something like that.
Yeah, we totally should.
Could we be like green eggs and ham, and we could do like get someone to do some artwork, Cat in the Hat, and green eggs.
Yeah,
and ham.
green. Well, GPT will do it. It's been doing a great job with our thumbnail.
Some of our
whatever you're using.
Yeah, I'd give it a try.
I love it.
See what it spits out. All right,
I gotta bounce.
You gotta leave. So yeah.
Yeah, I gotta get out of here. I love you guys. This was a fun night. I'm glad I got to scream a little bit. It's clearly been it's been pent up a little bit. I love when I could turn on my old man every now and then, you know, really dig in, you know what I mean?
It makes me happy.
All right, guys.
You fit your thumbnail picture very well tonight.
Yeah, it really does. Yes, it's so good. All right, everybody, have a good night.
See you.
All right, see you guys.
Matt, I saw this. This was pretty funny. I don't know if this is true or not, but someone went up to Schefter during the Masters and said, "So you're not allowed to have your phone on you at the Masters." And someone said some guy ran up to him and asked him if he heard about the huge NFL trade that just happened, and I guess Schefter panicked.
Oh, that's so fucking good. I love it.
Oh,
Good.
it's so good. I hope that's true. I really do.
I want to believe it is.
You can sell someone. You could sell it to someone. Green Bean talking about his eggs and Zachary Burner.
I just
on the wheel.
It's a really cool concept. I just don't know if I want 10 chickens in my backyard. You know, I don't know if I have the room for that.
I have a spot where I could probably put them because behind me is like all farmland, so I could put them in like the back corner of my property. And I don't have like a big yard, but we have an acre, so it's kind of like can sort of position it far enough away where it may not smell. I don't know. I also don't want like coyotes or things eating my chickens.
Yeah, God forbid, right?
Yeah.
That would suck too. God.
That would not be great. Got to explain to the kids why. Oh my God. So this was great. I was at work and my friend's kid, I guess she's like 5, 6, maybe a little younger, whatever it was. They're sitting at the kitchen table. It's mom, dad, older brother, and this daughter. And the daughter says, "I think it's so crazy that there's chicken the food and chicken the animal, and they're totally different." And like the older brother was like, and the mom just glared at him. It's like, "Do not say a thing right now." I was like, that is amazing. That your kid doesn't know that.
Yes, it is. Then you just say, and keep eating your dinner.
That is totally wild. Yeah. I'm on this kick of like, I probably shouldn't do it to the girls, but they're like eating chicken or eating like, you know, bacon or something. Like, oh yeah, that's a pig. That's a chicken or whatever. I just like get them used to it. But like, they're probably going to hate me when they're older. Like, I can't believe you made me eat a chicken. It's delicious.
It's good for you. It's delicious. Lean protein. Chicken's good.
Good for you. Good for the soul. Peter says no phones allowed at the Masters. I do know there's no phones allowed at the Masters. I just don't know if Schefter was there, and if he was there, if that actually happened to him. But it's a truth that I will just hold on to. Some things don't need to be fact checked, Matt.
Totally agree with you. Like Joy Taylor being related to Mason Taylor and Jason Taylor really blew my mind tonight. But the more you know, I guess. What do you, as a golf guy, right? Like you work in golf. What do you think of all like the different rules at the Masters?
It's interesting. I had only just heard about these rules relatively recently. I knew the no phone thing, but I thought someone said it was 15 rules. I think I saw 7. You can't run. Like you have to walk from place to place. I know that's a thing. My buddy actually got a ticket to go to the Masters. He found out on Wednesday or Tuesday of this past week and was like, "Hey, our guy over at Golf Now has an extra ticket. Like, I got to get a plane now because I'm never going to get a ticket to go to the Masters. I was like, dude, that's friggin' sweet. So we got to go to the Saturday round of the Masters. So I was picking his brain a little bit. But, dude, everything's so cheap down there. The food, you can get like a full meal for like $10, pimento and cheese sandwich for like $1.50 or $2. They don't make anything, or they don't make any profit on the food. I mean, I guess
I was reading. No, I wasn't reading. I'm sorry. Why would I reading? Come on now. It was on my TikTok. Come on. Let's be real, Matt. There was a video and it was showing like how the Masters makes their money, and it's all merch. It's not like television rights. It's all merchandise. $
70 million across the tournament in that pro shop. That's bananas. The average purchase is $1,000. Yeah.
Holy shit.
That's insane. That is a wild amount of money. I'd have to imagine they have to have an online store, right? Like can't just be all going through that shop. I mean, maybe it is. Who knows? People buying stuff for like family members. Like my buddy went down. He's like, yo, you want a ball marker? You want a divot tool? You want something like that? I was like, sure, whatever you think you can fit in your bag. Like, I don't care. Like, that would be cool. I'd imagine there's a ton of people like that.
Yeah.
$300 for a pullover. That's not insane. Where I work, there are certainly things that go for a wild amount of money. Like our cheapest polos might be like $85 in the pro shops, and they go up to like probably $200.
I'm not a golf guy, but I know golf is very expensive from what I've seen.
Dude, before I got into golf, I was like, why would someone pay this much? And then I got like the employee discount. I tried some of the stuff and I was like, oh, this is why they wear this stuff. It's so comfortable. It's like a bunch of like, I mean, you think about back in the day, it was like before Tiger, it was guys that were kind of not so in shape. They were a little more portly, like John Daly and whatever else. It's like, oh, these guys know how to be comfy and they got a lot of money. Four-way stretch blew my mind the first time I had four-way stretch pants. Now Chubby's does it. Link in the description, maybe. I don't know if I put it there. Talking Jets.
It's got to be there.
I think it's in
there.
there.
It's there.
Nice. Look at that. Free spot. Larry says, Rory is awesome. Yeah, Rory won me $100, so I'm very happy. He says polo is a completely different sport. Not polo, the golf polo.
Sure. Isn't it funny? You were saying like the chicken, the food, and the animal, polo, the sport, and the clothing. Same concept here.
Do you think polo, the sport, came first and then they wore polos? Or the Ralph Lauren polo maybe came out and they have the polo. Isn't it? I don't have the
It's
polo
because that's the logo. The logo is the guy playing the polo. So you go, oh, like that's the polo shirt. But it's kind of like the Kleenex and the tissue argument. Like everyone just calls it a Kleenex, but it's actually a tissue.
I forgot. I did see this. Rory is a Jets fan too. Yeah. I think it was Tigo or Jeremy. Someone was complaining about in our chat that he became a Jet fan in 2011 when all our shit went downhill.
Yeah.
I like it.
Thanks a lot.
Thanks, Rory. But maybe he broke his streak. It's going to break our streak now.
Oh, that's a good spin zone. I like that. So Rory finally gets over the hump, and now the Jets get over the hump too.
I'd like to believe it.
Hell yeah.
Rico says, yeah, all those coyotes on Long Island just running wild. I live in Jersey. I'm not on Long Island. Matt probably doesn't have to worry about too many coyotes, I would think.
No, I don't have squirrels.
We got bears up here. We got bobcats, Steve cats, Michael cats. Not really just bobcats. There's cougar here and there. And some big cats.
Apparently, so I don't know if this is, you take it with a grain of salt. I think I've mentioned this before, at least to you. I don't know if I said it on air. My favorite part about becoming a homeowner is getting the Ring app and reading the different posts in the neighbors area and seeing what people say.
I didn't know that was a thing.
Oh, this is better than any Facebook group with ridiculous comments. This is great. But this week, someone thought that they saw a coyote in Deer Park. Now, I don't know if that is accurate or not. Could have been a big dog, but there might be
a Jets fan wandering around.
There may be a coyote on Long Island, and one not crazy far from me, allegedly, if we're going to believe the Ring app.
That is so funny. My mom will send me things from her Ring camera every now and then. Ducks or raccoon. We had a raccoon in the backyard one of the times, and like the raccoon was like found the garbage next to our like grill. For some reason that was left out, and he was like, just throwing stuff all over the place. It's fun seeing what people come up with or what happens at people's houses. I get the alert on my phone and like, there's a person on your back deck. I'm like, what the? And it's like a bug that flew in front of the camera in such a freeze frame that like tripped the camera.
Yeah, there's so many good ones. I'm trying to. The same husky gets loose like once a day. I see a post on that, but yeah, there's some crazy stuff in here, man.
For emphasis, Rico comes in and says the shirt was named after the sport. Collared shirts were made so you could fold up the collar and not get your neck burned while playing in the sun.
Oh, that's I should do that more often. I mean,
I should. I look like
I fair skinned, and we probably get a little redneck going.
I would say that makes sense, and probably why Irishmen started wearing polos. Can I do
And
like
get the hat on
I'm
too?
gonna protect my entire head and
Get the goggles on too.
back and neck. Well, it's to reflect the sun off, not magnify it onto my head.
Smart.
I feel like I look like a douche with my collar pop. It was co-opted by frat bros, and then the pop collar went away. I
Yes.
think I've popped a collar in a long time. J-Mo says, a big mountain lion lived in Pine Island when we were in high school. So J-Mo and I grew up friends going to Warwick, ran into him in the middle of the night, which now that you're saying this, we were walking back from a grad party, and like he was riding his bike in the middle of fucking nowhere. And he's just like, holy shit, it's you. So me and my other buddy were walking back through the woods, and apparently there's a mountain lion that lived in the area. Probably not ideal where we grew up.
No, not good.
J-Mo came out for the Jets Broncos game last year. He lives in Colorado, so he came out to see that miserable shit show.
Yes, that's right. I remember your friend. I remember your friend from Colorado. Shout out J-Mo.
Good guy. Good guy. He likes watching the show. Don't like the mountain lions.
No good.
With a collared shirt in that color, I'm surprised 80s music doesn't start playing when you pop your collar. Wow. Okay. I really liked this shirt until about 2 seconds ago. Now I feel like I'm in the 80s. I got this was one of those $20 shirts from I don't know, Kohl's. This was not like not one of my pro shop shirts.
Not a pro shop or sponsor.
No, definitely not. I got a bunch of nice ones, but I was feeling a little lazy today. Hardcore says I look like the kid from Up with those goggles. Oh, that's not nice.
Dude, I can't wait for. See, the chat is the absolute best, and this is just getting me more excited for the draft because once we get to day 3, it's going to be peak silliness after about like 24 hours of streaming at that point in 3 days.
Oh man, we start getting slap happy, and day 3 goes off the rails. the food comments. I gotta reach out to Blewett, see if he'll come on with us for a little bit. He usually has a lot of fun with day 3. Get his thoughts. Yeah, boys and girls, if you have not been with us for a Talkin' Jets draft party, all 3 days are an absolute riot. Lots of fun. Showing the draft on stream. You get to see our genuine reactions to everything, our analysis on who the Jets took, who they should have took, what we feel, the stupid picks other teams make. Someone's going to do something stupid. I'm excited. Looking forward to it. We've reached the end of our show. Matt, anything else you want to plug?
Yeah, so we are having a new Just Jets tomorrow. I have an exciting announcement as well that'll come out later tomorrow. I can't give it out just yet, but it is NFL draft related. So we can maybe chat about it next week on Tuesday. How's that sound?
Ooh, that sounds wonderful.
Love
I'm
it.
Excited. Boys and girls, it's been a lot of fun hanging out with you tonight. This is Talkin' Jets signing off. JETS.
Just go somewhere else. I can't take this nonsense anymore. How are you going to blame the defense?
I got the pouch. Screw green bean. Damn it.
But once you get to the sausage, I feel like we're doing something.
Go Jets.
And that's the other part of it, is that people are insanely jealous of this show. This show gets the best of the best, and it does a different way, with positivity.
He scores!
Ow, my head. No, come on.
What would you give up to see a Jets Super Bowl?
All of my friends and family.
Hit those milk thumbs, boys and girls.
Freeze frame.
Hold on to your underwear, ladies, and stand by, bitches. It's now time for Talkin' Jets with your hosts, Matt, Ryan, and Green Bean.